And now to security matters. Troops of 8th Division Garrison Strike Force operating under Operation FANSAN YAMMA Sector 2 has achieved significant breakthroughs in its ongoing offensive operation within the notorious Sububu Forest of Maradun local government area of Zamfara State.
Troops of Operation FANSAN YAMMA are once again deep inside Sububu Forest, moving firmly and pushing forward with a mission they say must not fail: to flush out terrorist elements hiding in the thick forests of the northwest and restore peace to communities that have lived too long in fear. This is not a one-day operation. It is part of a sustained, relentless offensive that has continued for days, sometimes weeks, with soldiers sleeping under trees, trekking long distances on foot, and facing danger at every bend in the forest path. Now, at this point, what happened inside Sububu Forest is not just another security update. It is a story of confrontation, courage, fear, and relief. It is also a reminder of the human cost of insecurity and the quiet hope many communities are holding on to.
Sububu Forest is dense, wild, and unforgiving. Tall trees block sunlight, narrow paths twist without warning, and silence can quickly turn into gunfire. For years, criminal elements have used this forest as a safe haven, launching attacks, hiding kidnapped victims, and escaping security patrols. On this latest push, troops from Sector 2 of the 8th Division advanced deeper into identified terrorist hideouts around Indulumu and Ruduno villages. These are not unfamiliar names to residents. For locals, they are places associated with fear, sudden attacks, and stories whispered at night. As the troops moved in, the atmosphere was tense. Every step mattered, every sound could signal danger. Then, contact was made. As soldiers closed in on suspected hideouts, hostile elements engaged them. Gunfire erupted inside the forest near Indulumu and Ruduno villages. It was sudden and fierce.
Here's where the story gets more interesting. This was not a random clash. Intelligence had pointed to active terrorist presence, and the troops were prepared. According to military sources, the soldiers responded with discipline and coordination, engaging the attackers decisively. In the exchange, several terrorists were neutralized. No celebration followed, just focus, because in operations like this, neutralizing armed criminals is only part of the job. The bigger task is dismantling their entire system: how they move, how they survive, and how they terrorize communities. Ask yourself this: how many attacks would have been planned with the weapons recovered that day? After the gunfight, troops conducted a sweep of the area. What they found tells a clear story about the kind of threat hiding in Sububu Forest.
Recovered items included 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 magazine loaded with 28 rounds of ammunition, a pair of woodland camouflage uniforms, 2 motorcycles used by the terrorists for movement and attacks. The motorcycles were destroyed on the spot. This detail may sound small, but it is not. In forest-based terrorism, motorcycles are lifelines. They allow quick movement between villages, rapid escape after attacks, and surprise raids on isolated communities. Destroying them cuts off speed, mobility, and confidence. The camouflage uniforms also matter. Criminals often wear them to confuse villages, impersonate security forces, or move unnoticed in the bush. But the operation did not stop there.
Maintaining operational momentum, the troops pushed further into Sububu Forest. This phase is known as exploitation, a careful but aggressive search for camps, supply points, and support structures. Imagine what this looks like: makeshift shelters hidden under trees, cooking spots with ashes still warm, sleeping areas carved out of bushland, food supplies meant to last days, escape routes mapped through thick vegetation. Troops uncovered and destroyed several terrorist camps and life support structures. Let's pause and think about what this means. Every destroyed camp is one less place for criminals to plan attacks. Every burnt structure weakens their ability to stay long in the forest. Every disrupted supply chain pushes them further from communities. This is how long-term security is built, not just by fighting, but by denying criminals the ability to regroup. Amid the weapons, camps, and combat, something happened that reminded everyone why this operation truly matters. A 13-year-old girl was found alive. Her name is Halira Ibrahim. She had been kidnapped. We are not told how long she had been in captivity, but anyone familiar with kidnapping in the Northwest knows what that usually means: fear, hunger, uncertainty, and the constant question of whether help will ever come. When troops found Halira, it was not just a rescue, it was a release from terror. Picture this moment: a frightened young girl in the forest, soldiers approaching carefully, gentle voices, reassurance, the realization that she is safe. Relief does not always come with loud celebration. Sometimes it comes with tears, silence, and deep breaths after days or weeks of fear. Can you imagine what her parents felt when they heard she had been rescued alive? This is where the story shifts from tactics to humanity.
Halira Ibrahim is not just a name in a military report. She represents hundreds of children and families affected by insecurity across the Northwest. For every rescued victim, there are many families still waiting. Parents sleep lightly at night. Children walk to school with fear. Farmers hesitate before going to their fields. Traders avoid certain roads. In communities around Sububu Forest, news of the rescue spread quickly. Villagers spoke in hushed but hopeful tones. Some expressed gratitude, others expressed cautious optimism. One resident, speaking quietly, summed it up simply: "At least we can see that someone is fighting for us." Is that not what people want most? To feel protected? Community reaction: hope mixed with caution. While many residents welcomed the operation, there is also a sense of cautious realism on the ground. People know that one operation, no matter how successful, does not end insecurity overnight. Forests are large, criminal networks adapt, fear does not disappear instantly. But there is something powerful about sustained pressure. Community members around Indulumu and Ruduno say they noticed increased military presence, movement, and patrols. Some reported hearing gunfire earlier, followed by unusual quiet. Markets reopened cautiously. Farmers discussed returning to their fields, at least during daylight hours. The rescue of Halira has become a talking point, not just as good news, but as proof that reporting suspicious movement and cooperating with security forces can save lives. Let's ask this: how many rescues could happen if communities and security forces truly worked as one? Who were these terrorists? Details about the neutralized terrorists remain limited, but what is clear is that they were armed, mobile, and embedded in forest terrain. The recovered weapons, uniforms, and motorcycles point to organized criminal activity rather than random banditry. These are groups that plan, observe, attack, and retreat. They rely heavily on forest cover, local knowledge, and fear. But fear only works when people feel abandoned. Operations like FANSAN YAMMA are designed to send a clear message: there will be no safe haven for terror. The Northwest region has faced years of insecurity, banditry, kidnappings, village raids, and road ambushes. These are not just security problems, they are social and economic wounds. When farmers cannot farm, food prices rise. When traders avoid roads, markets suffer. When children are kidnapped, education stalls. When fear rules, development dies. By pushing into forests like Sububu, the military is targeting the root of the problem, not just its symptoms. Destroying camps disrupts planning. Rescuing victims restores trust. Sustained operations change criminal calculations, and that is why consistency matters. Much has been said about bravery, but it deserves repeating, calmly and respectfully. The troops involved operated in dangerous terrain, facing armed opponents in an environment that favors ambush. They moved with discipline, coordination, and restraint. There were no reports of civilian harm. There was no reckless destruction. The focus remained clear: neutralize threats, protect lives, and restore order. This kind of professionalism builds confidence, not just in the military, but in the idea that peace is possible.
Operation FANSAN YAMMA remains active and unyielding. Military sources say the aim is clear: deny terrorists safe haven and restore lasting peace and security across the Northwest. This means continued patrols, intelligence-driven operations, and cooperation with local communities. But security is not the job of soldiers alone. Let's pause here and ask a difficult but important question. What role does the public play in all this? Let's also look at the lessons for public safety. This operation offers several clear lessons. 1. Forests are no longer hiding places. Criminals who rely on terrain alone are being hunted systematically. 2. Information saves lives. Tips from locals can lead to rescues like that of Halira Ibrahim. 3. Silence helps criminals, not communities. Fear is understandable, but total silence allows insecurity to grow. 4. Security is a shared responsibility. Vigilance, cooperation, and community watchfulness matter. No one is asking civilians to fight criminals, but awareness and timely reporting can make a real difference.
As the dust settles in Sububu Forest, soldiers continue their patrols. Destroyed camps smolder quietly. Paths once used by terrorists are now watched closely. Somewhere, a 13-year-old girl is safe again. Somewhere, parents are breathing easier tonight. But the work continues. The story of Operation FANSAN YAMMA is not just about gunfire and weapons. It is about persistence. It is about refusing to surrender forests, villages, and futures to fear. And as communities watch, hope grows. Not loudly, not blindly, but steadily. What do you think is the most important step toward lasting peace in the Northwest? Stronger military action, better community cooperation, or deeper social solutions?